Right, good morning. Thank you for coming back to Real Builders episode 2. So this morning I'm going to be talking about my plans for the next 12 weeks. So basically, I'm carrying way too much body fat is the total of it. I reckon I'm sat at around 22%, maybe a little bit higher. The machine and pure reckons I'm 18%, which is it's got to be way off. Later in the episode I'll kind of show current body composition and you can make your own mind up, but it ain't 18%, believe me. So for the next 12 weeks I'm going to be doing something called body recomping, and there's a couple of reasons for that. The first one is I've done the whole heavy dieting thing to lose a load of weight, and it was miserable. I did it for about 15 weeks for a comp last year, and it's not an experience I'm going to be in a rush to kind of relive. But also because primarily the main goal of what I want to achieve for at least the rest of this year is to try and still build as much muscle and strength as possible. And I didn't find being in a heavy calorie deficit conducive to that. So the plan is for the next 12 weeks I'm going to do something called body recomping, which is just basically eating to a modest deficit, keeping protein really high. And the plan is to kind of lose weight slow and steadily, kind of chip away at the body fat, but protecting kind of existing muscle mass. And depending on what you read, the idea is there's still potential in the right conditions, the right amount of protein, right amount of rest and recovery to still build a bit of muscle. So that's the plan for the next 12 weeks. I'm going to kind of take you with me, show you how, what the kind of trials and tribulations look like. Later in this episode, like I said, I'm going to show what my current composition is, what my diet's going to look like for the next 12 weeks, and importantly, what my training's going to look like for the next 12 weeks. So just outside the gym now, going to go and get a workout in, and then we'll pick this back up. See you later. So, what does training look like? So at the minute, I'm training 4 days a week in the gym, and then 2 days a week of cardio. Training routine, I'm going to put it up on the screen for you now, is a 4-day push-pull leg split. The leg workouts is a bit of an odd one at the minute because I'm really injured. So I was training for a Spartan Beast, which I should have been doing in July this year. Started running at the beginning of the year. Long story short, did way too much too soon. Absolutely ruined my calf. And I've got basically a bad case of posterior shin splints, so running is off the table at the minute. So I'm kind of switching that out with cycling for the cardio, which, to be honest with you, I do prefer, because cycling's something that I did for years as a kid anyway, mountain biking. So I am looking forward to getting back out on the bike again, to be honest with you. But that's about it. There's nothing crazy going on. Kind of focusing on upper body size and strength. I kind of, rightly or wrongly, sort of looked at myself and kind of thought about some weak areas. So like kind of want to develop my shoulders a little bit more in traps and things like that. So my workout plan is kind of skewed towards building those areas. In terms of putting the plan together, I being the tech nerd that I am, use ChatGPT. So I'm going to show you now sort of the prompts and stuff that I use to kind of put this workout together. So I'm going to be interested to see how that looks, and what the training kind of looks like from using that, in all honesty. Be interesting to know if any of you guys have ever used ChatGPT for your training. If you have, let me know down below, because that'd be really interesting to see if I'm not the only one switching to AI for things, for help with stuff like that. In terms of tracking it, I will be using, I think it's called Gymbook. I don't think you can get it on Android. I think it's only an iOS app. I've had it for years, to be honest with you. It's a free app. I think I paid 89p for some minimal features, but cost-wise, compared to some recent apps, it's brilliant. It lets you build custom workouts, put the exercises in, and you can kind of track your sort of sets, weights, volume, make sure you kind of steadily, kind of progressively overloading. And the good thing I do like about it is if the exercise isn't in the app, you can add it in, create a custom app. It doesn't necessarily show you the heat map of like the body parts it's doing, but it does allow you to add it in and track it. So yeah, let's go and get back home, get in the kitchen and talk about diet and what the food's going to look like. Right, so diet. So the primary goal of the diet is to strip away a load of body fat and try and preserve muscle or build muscle. That's kind of body recomp in a nutshell. So how am I going to achieve that? So primarily, I'll be eating to a modest deficit. On training days, I'll be eating to around 2,500 calories, and then on non-training days, I'll be eating to around 2,200. Now, my current estimated maintenance calories, so that's how many calories I eat to just kind of maintain weight, is calculated, depending on what website or calculator I use, between 2,850 to just over 3,000. And that's based on a number of factors, so height, weight, current body fat, how active I am. So that's going to be the daily calories. So in terms of tracking my training and sort of output using my Garmin, I only got this recently, and I must say it is amazing. I'm probably going to show more of this over the course of the coming weeks and months, just sort of how I'm utilising it in my training. But cool piece of kit. Food wise, I'm going to be using MyFitnessPal. So I've used MyFitnessPal for a couple of years now. God, it knows all my skeletons in terms of diet. So the good thing about that is I use the premium version, which is about £8 a month, which lets you add daily goals, so I can change like my training day targets and my non-training days. And it allows you to kind of put macro splits in as well. So if, nice segue into macros. I'm not doing anything fancy, so I'm doing a 40-40-20 split. So 40% of my calories is going to come from carbs, 40% from protein, and 20% from fats. Now it's not quite that linear, so my protein is slightly higher than 40, my carbs a little bit lower, and that's just purely because one of the kind of goals of recomping, because you're in a deficit, protein intake is massively important to kind of preserve that muscle mass. Meals, so between myself and my friends, I get the mick taken out of me quite a bit because I am a very boring eater. I am quite happy to eat functionally. My friends joke that I have a bowl of beige for lunch, and that is relatively accurate. So I'm quite happy to put chicken breast and rice in a bowl and a bit of salt and pepper, and I'm happy with that. I do a bit of meal prep. So I'm a massive fan of the frozen chicken skewers you can get from Iceland. So I'm quite happy to cook a load of them off, portion out a load of rice, and then I've kind of got meals for the day. I do have a dead hectic job and life outside of work, because my son plays football and has quite a lot of different training activities, so I do eat practically sometimes. So if meal prep's not been an option for me, I'll look to either what can be thrown together quite quickly, so cooked chicken breast and microwave rice, for example, or more recently the My Protein meals. Some of them are quite good. So that's kind of what the food's going to look like. But I do intend to kind of show this, because I don't want to just kind of do the whole 12 weeks, look great, loads of training, here's the results. Diet is massive, and diet's something that I struggle with and have done quite a bit. So for a little bit of context, I'm kind of going to go into my current physique in a bit, but I've put probably about 1.5 stone, maybe more on, just from the start of this year alone. So I will focus quite a bit on the diet side of things. In terms of flexibility, I'm not a big fan of cheat days. A cheat day for me is I'm quite happy to eat a kind of macro-friendly breakfast and dinner, but the cheat element, if you will, probably comes in the evening meal. So we tend to eat out a lot, and sometimes it's really, really difficult to stay within your kind of targets and macros when you're eating out. Again, this is something that I'm really looking forward to covering, how I kind of adapt to that. Will there be some cheat days and flexibility? 100%, absolutely, can guarantee there will. And again, I'm happy to. I'll be documenting that, showing it, just so you get an understanding of what the reality looks like for me. And like I say, just on that whole element, I've got a 4-day trip coming up back end of this week, where I will be at a theme park for 4 days at a football tournament. So I am looking forward to seeing how that looks from a food and exercise perspective, but that is all going to be documented in the coming episode. So if you're looking to how you can kind of stay on track while you're out and about, then absolutely, check out next week's episodes. So current physique, I mean, the idea with the channel is I was kind of going to document what training and life looks like at 40. As you know, I've got massive aspirations of doing an Ironman next year, and a Spartan, maybe at the back end of this year and next year, because like I say, I was meant to be doing one here this year, but I am injured. And it was just to kind of really showcase what life's actually like, trying to train for these things around real life. Now, current physique, it's kind of why I'm doing this 12-week recomp initially, because without, the reality of it is, without escaping it, I'm carrying way too much body fat. So I got down to probably 16-17% body fat at the back end of last year. And then once those restrictions were kind of lifted, my diet and discipline just went straight out the window, and I put a load of weight back on. And I'm just not happy with it. Like I think I said in episode 1, I kind of go to the gym, but I don't look like I go to the gym. So you'll have seen from that kind of footage I'm overlaying here what the kind of current physique is, but to give you that in numbers, so I'm currently sat at 13 stone 4, which I will put on the screen what that equates to in pounds and kilograms. I was 13.6 a couple of weeks ago, so the recomp's slightly working. Even though this is kind of week 1, I have been kind of starting to eat and train around the recomp just to kind of, I guess, get back into the swing of things. Body fat, I reckon, is 22%, maybe a little bit higher. The biometric machine in the gym where you kind of grab the handles reckons it's 18.9%, but I think it is way higher. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. The goal, really, I'd like to get down to sub 18 again, and then potentially from there I'll reassess and decide whether a few more weeks of cutting / recomp is the way to go, or whether I'm comfortable to start building mass again. But like I say, the current thinking is this is going to be a 12-week course, if you will, and then we'll all kind of see where I land in 12 weeks and make a decision from there. And that's it. I hope this has been informative. Like I say, there's a lot coming up. Like I say, I've got Flamingo Land coming up this weekend, so I'm gonna, first week I'm gonna have some big tests about eating and training on the road. I've got a trip to Florida in a month and a half, which again is going to be equally as challenging. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. If you're still here and you're still watching and you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. But more importantly, just let me know in the comments, kind of where you are in your fitness journey, and what you're struggling with, because this is ultimately it's my journey, but I want to grow this into something for everyone. So yeah, comment down below, let me know. But next time you see me, I will be in Flamingo Land. So this has been Real Build episode 2. See you later.